Chapter 8. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in the vision. Now it was so that when I saw, I was in Shushan the castle, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in the vision, and I was by the stream Ulai. And I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the stream a ram which had 2 horns, and 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, and so beast could not stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will, and magnified himself. And I was considering, behold, a he-goat came forth from the west over the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the he-goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had the 2 horns, which I saw standing before the stream, and ran at him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and broke his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and trampled upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. And the he-goat magnified himself exceedingly, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and instead of it there came up the appearance of 4 horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the beauteous land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and some of the host and of the stars it cast down to the ground, and trampled upon them. Yes, it magnified itself even to the prince of the host, and from him the continual burnt offering was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and the host was given over to it together with the continual burnt offering through transgression. It cast down truth to the ground, and it wrought and prospered. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said unto the certain one who spoke, How long shall be the vision concerning the continual burnt offering, and the transgression that causes appalment, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled under foot? And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 evenings and mornings, then shall the sanctuary be victorious. And it came to pass, when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, that I sought to understand it. And behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard the voice of a man between the banks of Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came I was terrified, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for the vision belongs to the time of the end. Now as he was speaking with me, I fell into a deep sleep with my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright, and he said, Behold, I will make you know what shall be in the latter time of the indignation, for it belongeth to the appointed time of the end. The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia. And the he-goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. And as for that which is broken in the place whereof 4 stood up, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not with his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have completed their transgression, there shall stand up a king of fierce countenance, and understanding stratagems. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and he shall destroy them that are mighty, and the people of the saints. And through his cunning he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And in the time of the security shall he destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evenings and the mornings, which hath been told, is true. But you, shut you up the vision, for it belongs to many days to come. And I, Daniel, fainted, and was sick certain days. Then I rose up, and did the king's business, And I was appalled at the vision, but understood it not. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Yesterday, it was during the period, the first year of the reign of Belshazzar, and that was in the beginning of his reign, or his period of rule. Belshazzar. Belshazzar is this Lord of treasure. He's the Lord of treasures. He's the Lord of the hidden things. And we're going to pick it up in this chapter in the third year of his reign. And third is a portion actually of the greater understanding. The third is. But 3 is to complete, and even this portion that will complete the greater understandings of the reign of these kings, of the king Belshazzar, even that Lord of treasures. We're going to find out. We're going to pick it up in verse 1. In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And it was in the third year, like I just said, it's that which completes that portion of the greater understanding. It's going to complete, or bear witness in whole, I should say, see 3 by the mouth of 3. It's confirmed, or by that which is poured out by the 3, it was confirmed. And that was these 3 witnesses, or these 3 periods. This vision appeared unto me, and a vision, once again, is these things we can see. It's like a dream. These things that we can see that appear to be real, that have everything attached to them that are, because they're like a vision, similitude, we should say, even unto Daniel. And Daniel is that judge of the mighty one. He is the judge of the mighty one, and this is a vision appears as it did in the beginning, at first. 2. And I saw in the vision. Now it was so that when I saw, I was in Shushan, the castle, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in the vision, and I was by the stream Ulai. And I saw in this vision, I saw in this perception, or these things which I could see and perceive. When I saw, I was in Shushan, the castle, and when I seen these things, or when this vision appeared to me, or this place where the vision took place, it was in Shushan. And Shushan is a lily. Shushan means lily. It's this flower, and it is that which springs forth in beauty in the palace, or in this castle, which is in the province of Elam, and it's located in that area, or that area which pertains to Elam, and that's eternity. Elam means eternity. And I saw in the vision, or I perceived, and I was by the stream Ulai, and Ulai is my mighties. It means my mighties. What it means are these strong ones. I was by this stream of the strong ones, and this stream. A stream is that which carries. It's something that carries it along. It's like the waters that descend, or they flow down, and these are like understandings, and these understandings are like this that accomplishes across a period of time. They carry something across a distance, and that distance is time. 3. And I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the stream a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. And I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw, and behold, there stood before the stream of a ram. And before this stream, or by this period, in this that flows through, even this understanding flows through, there was this ram which had 2 horns. And a ram is always something. It is the head of the sheep, and it's the male of the sheep, and that is that one. A ram is that exalts itself. It's the highest one of the sheep. It exalts itself above the sheep. It's got horns, whereas the ewes don't. The ram does, and these horns grow, and they are twisted, and we'll find out. It stands up in its strength, and with these horns, and even these 2 horns, and we can witness the horns on a ram. It's simple as to look at it, but these horns here are these 2 things that exalt. Witness these things that exalt themselves from the head. And these things here can be used for strength, but we can use them for warnings. And the two horns then witnessed the warnings were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. And one horn, we'll find out, is a little taller than the other, and the tallest one is going to come up last. We're going to find out what they are. These will be the two kingdoms, and one will be just a little higher than the other. And I saw the ram, 4, pushing westward and northward and southward, and no beast could stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will, and magnified himself. And this ram, this one exalted himself, pushing westward. Westward, that way, westward is a way toward where the sun would go down, and that would be toward the way of darkness. And northward, toward that's that way of judgment. And southward, that's that way of the parched land. See, that parched land, that there's a witness. It was parched before, and that's what it is. And no beast could stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand or out of his works. We'll find out. God has sent his judgment, a king upon the earth to conquer. But he did according to his will. He magnified himself. And we'll find out this king, is going to be the king of Persia. And he's going to magnify himself. He's going to set himself up over all the other kingdoms. And I was considering, 5, behold, a he-goat came from the west over the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. And as I was considering the ram and his horns, behold, this he-goat came from the west over the face of the whole earth. And this he-goat, a he-goat is the male of the goats. And he's the one. He's going to have horns too, but we'll find out. He comes forth, and a he-goat is a satyr. He is that which is going to. He is this with the hair bristling. It all relates down to this fear. This one who comes forth out of their fear, or he comes forth over the face, or those things which are made plain in the whole earth. See, and that's all in place of flesh. And he touches not the ground. He doesn't touch the ground. He is above the earth, and the he-goat, and this goat, had this conspicuous horn between his eyes. And this conspicuous horn means we can see it, we can notice it. It's this strength, and it's this thing that stands forth in strength, or exalts itself from his head and his understanding. And it is between his eyes, and that is between that which he perceives, those visions that he has. 6. And he came to the ram that had the 2 horns, which I saw standing before the stream, and ran at him in the fury of his power. And he came to the ram, and that's that one exalted himself with the 2 horns, and witnessed them 2 warnings, which I saw that was standing before the stream, and that's them waters that descend, or that understanding that's coming down. That across time it's carried the message, we can say. And it ran at him in the fiery fury of his power. And it comes running, this he-goat does, at the ram, 7. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and broke his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him to the ground, and trampled upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. And I saw him come close to the ram, and that's that one exalted himself by the stream, and he was moved with great anger, this choler, against the ram, this goat was, the he-goat, and he smote the ram, and broke his 2 horns. Witness those 2 strengths, those warnings were broke, because we'll find out power in the ram couldn't stand before him. There was no power in the ram to stand before the goat. We'll find out. See, God was making the example. It's always the same lesson here. When the ram exalted himself, God sent his judgment. 8. And the he-goat magnified himself exceedingly. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And instead of it, there came up the appearance of 4 horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. And the he-goat magnifies himself exceedingly. And this he-goat, this one who come forth in fear, or come up out of their fears, he magnifies himself exceedingly. And we'll find out it's always God who's prospering, but he magnifies himself. And when he was strong, when he had reached his great strength, and this great horn was broken, and that's like being snapped in two. That's great strength, and that which exalts itself in understanding. And instead of it, there came up the appearance of four horns, and this appearance was of these four horns was this work of God, because four is always the work of God in these horns that's being exalted from understanding. See, because God, he does all this. It's always the work of God toward the four winds of heaven. And once again, these four, because it's the work of God. See, these winds of heaven. And these winds of heaven are simply these periods of time which move across understanding. See, then we're talking about these periods of these kings. Once again, God gave them rule. They're exacting judgment. See, and that's what the he-goat is. He's that one that come forth out of fear. They said, give us a king. God said, here's your king. And all this is going to start again. He says, remember, that's what the children of Israel were done when they came into the land. 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south and toward the east and toward the beauteous land. And out of one of them came forth this little horn. Remember that little horn, it's like that little horn from yesterday. See, that little one that comes up, it seems to have great strength. God always bringing up that, how he exalts that lower, brings up, lifts up the lower. See, that little horn, that one, it's going to exalt itself, even in understanding. And it waxes exceedingly great toward the south. That's toward that parched land. That's a place of witness. And toward the east, that way where the sun comes forth, that's a way of enlightenment and understanding come. It's like the morning sun. It brings forth light upon the darkness. And toward the beautiful land. That is the way of the beautiful land, that way of understanding. That is the beauteous land. That beautiful land, that land of understanding. It's supposed to be Jerusalem, that place of peaceful teachings. 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And some of the host and of the stars it cast to the ground, and trampled upon them. And it waxes great, it becomes marvelous, big and high, even to the host of heaven. Even to the host. And this host is like an army. It comes out to war. It's like a army. And those that are prepared for battle of heaven. And that's of understandings. And some of the host, some of those that come forth to fight, and of the stars it cast to the ground. And these stars, a star is a light in heaven, and it represents a light that's shining forth out of the darkness. See, we can see these stars, or these enlightened ones who come forth, and what they represent is a heap that's on fire, and it's like something from the past that's burning. And we know what's under them heaps. And they were cast down to the ground. And that means they were cast down. They was brought low, brought down to the earth, and made weak, made flesh, and it was trampled upon them. We'll find out these understandings, these great understandings, they were brought down. 11. Yes, it magnified itself even to the prince of the host. And from him the continual burnt offering was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Yes, it, and we should refer to it as an it, magnified itself, even to the prince of the host. This word prince here should be ruler. It should be translated ruler, and it was even to the ruler of the host. And these that come forth out of understanding, even this army, we'll find out, is of God. And because he is the ruler of the host. God is the ruler of the host. God's the ruler in heaven. And from him this continual burnt offering was taken away. And they took away the continual burnt offering before the Lord, this which would make atonement for those things that passed through the fire, even that last generation that went through judgment. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And that place where God sanctified, it was cast down. We'll find out. They profaned it, polluted it, and destroyed it. 12. And the host was given over to it together with the continual burnt offering through transgression. And it cast down truth to the ground, and it wrought and prospered. And the host, that those all those that come forth to fight from heaven and understanding, was given to it, together with the continual burnt offering through transgression. And they fell away to transgression. See, transgression is to trespass. See, that's to trespass, to sin. What is sin? The law defines sin, see. The law defines sin. The law tells us what sin is. The law rightfully divides, see. And that's what was cast to the ground, that along with the burnt offering, cast down. And truth with it. Understanding went with it, see. When they quit obeying and keeping the understanding of God, and it worked. And it prospered. And that's what they did. They transgressed, and God gave them over to it. 13. And then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said unto that certain one who spoke, How long shall be the vision concerning the continual burnt offering, and the transgression that causes appalment, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot? And I heard a holy one, and that's one. And see, holy means to be hallowed, sanctified, set aside. That's God. You can't touch it. From the beginning, and it was speaking, and we're going to find out. That's the law of God to come forth from the beginning speaking. And another holy one said unto that certain one who spoke, and another hallowed one, another one who was set aside from the beginning, said unto the one who spoke, even that one who gave the law, How long shall be division concerning the continual burnt offering? How long shall be these perceptions? How long shall be this dream as it is that concerns this continual burnt offering? And that was that continually causing to pass through the fire, that generation, see, that's going to make atonement. And the transgression that causes appalment. And the transgression that causes appalment. And that's amazement. Jaw dropper, we should say. This transgression. That's that sin. What? And we're going to just about guess. It's probably number one or number two. See, God said, I am the Lord your God, and you shall have no other gods before me. Number two, you shall not make you an image, nor anything that which you can see. Go see, remember in the beginning, God spoke out of a fire, and you didn't see no image. See, and that's what it's all about right there. I can just about bet you. And he gave the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot. And he gave over his sanctuary, we'll find out. And they trample underfoot with the host. That's those that come forth in understanding to fight. To be trampled underfoot. That's under their paths. And these things they do. And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 evenings and mornings, then shall the sanctuary be victorious. Until this 2,300 evenings. 2 is a witness. 2 is simply a witness of the fulfillments. Thousands always fulfill the fulfillments. When we can witness the fulfillments, 300 evenings, and the complete judgments of the darkness and mornings, and those of light, see, because that's where they come forth, see. They come forth out of light, acting like light. They appear to be understanding. They appear to have all this knowledge and wisdom. But we'll find out in the end they do not. God takes that away. And then shall the sanctuary be victorious. And the sanctuary will be victorious because that's that place that's sanctified. See, and those that are sanctified, it was done by the law of God. We'll find in the end that was the sum of the matter. And it came to pass, when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, that I sought to understand it, and behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And it came to pass, When I, Daniel, the judge of the mighty one, had seen this vision, these perceptions, I sought to understand it. And behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man, one who appears to be like a man. In the vision, see, in an understanding we can perceive. 16, and I heard the voice of a man between the banks of Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. And I heard the voice. I heard a voice. I heard of a man, and this which is audible between the banks of Ulai. And Ulai, once again, Ulai is that place of the mighties. It's the mighties, or these strong ones, between these banks or these borders of, where that stream flows between. And that's that time. That's that waters that carry, even then, those waters that descend that and carry that message. And who are called, said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Gabriel is this warrior of the mighty one. This one who has a great ability to fight. Stand before the mighty one. Make this man to understand the vision. Cause him to have understanding, perception in the vision. These things that were as a dream. 17. And so he came near where I stood. And when he came, I was terrified and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for the vision belongs to the time of the end. When he comes near, we'll find out this terror falls upon, and Daniel, the judge of the mighty one, falls upon his face. And these were the things which he had made plain. These things which he was known of. And he said, Understand, and have understanding, son of man. The one who comes forth from man, who has seed, and that's to go out and to spread abroad the understanding. For the vision belongs to the time, and that's that period. See, it's a time, it's a period. It's not the whole time, it's just a period of it. And that time period of the end. That's of the end, and we'll find out what that end of is. See, the end of is the end of transgression, where God makes an end of it. It's destroyed. 18. Now he was speaking with me, and I fell into a deep sleep with my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And as he was speaking, as Gabriel, this warrior of the mighty one, was speaking, there fell upon me this deep sleep. And this deep sleep is to enter into a state of unconsciousness, to not be awakened. And my face toward the ground, these things even that I made plain, was toward the earth, and that of flesh. And he touched me and set me upright. 19, and he said, Behold, I will make you know what shall be in the latter time of the indignation, for it belongs to the appointed time of the end. And he said, Behold, now look and see. I will make you know what shall be in the latter time. And that latter time is, see, that time, now, once again, that period, it's not all of it, it's a portion of it. And this latter portion even, and that's that of the end. See, that there at the end of the indignation. And the indignation is a pent-up anger. It's a wrath. It's that of punishment. And that's what all do you. And we witness this punishment. God making an example across a great period of time, punishing, constantly punishing, because why? They turn. See, they turn away from God. And this appointed time, see, this appointed period, it belongs to the end. And that's the end of all that matter. We're going to find out when the transgressors have reached their full. 20. The ram which you saw having two horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia. And the ram, that one which exalted himself there by the river, which you saw, it had the two horns, and we witnessed those two horns, the strains. They were the kings of Media and Persia. See, they was those kings of Media and Persia. Media, that which is raised up. That in the middle was pinched and raised up. And Persia of splendor. See, that which is raised up of splendor, magnificence, and all this glory. We're going to find out. And the roe he-goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn, that is between his eyes, is the first king. And that roe he-goat, that one who comes forth even out of fear, he is this Molech of Greece, and that king of Greece. Greece is, King James, I believe, says Greece. It doesn't matter. The word is Yaban. And Yaban can be translated wine, but what Yaban is the effects of wine. It's the effects of wine. And he is the Molech of these effects of wine. And what are the effects of wine? It's drunkenness. And this great horn, that is that first king. And that we would find out. That which is between his eyes, these perceptions, is the beginning of the Molech, 22. And as for which was broken, in the place whereof four stood up, where four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not with his power. And as for that which was broken, in the place whereof four stood up, that's that horn, that warning, that strength that was broken, whereof four stood up, and that was that work of God that stood up, these four kingdoms, and that's that work of God. See, once again, in these kingdoms, these dominions, he gave over to the kings. See, God was making the kings. God sets the kings up, and they stand up out of the nations, but not with his power. And these ain't going to have the power of the first king, 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have completed their transgression, there shall stand up a king of fierce countenance and understanding stratagems. And then in the latter time, and that's that later portion. See, that later, all of it after all this is over, see, that in that last time, that later time, that end time, that portion of the end even, when the transgressors have completed their transgressions. When these transgressors, and transgressors are simply those that trespass. That's what a transgressor is, somebody that trespasses. See, you tried to get into the kingdom of God there, and you wasn't obeying the law, and that's like crossing a fence that's got a big sign on it that says no trespassing, do not enter. You have to be under an agreement with the king here to get into this place. See, that's the kingdom of God. You can't just trespass. See, that's what transgressors are. They don't obey the law. See, and at the end of the time, when they've completed their transgressions, there stands up this king of fierce countenance, understanding stratagems, ways of wars, ways in understanding. See, this, he's got fierce countenance. We'll find out. 24, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and do. And he destroy them that are mighty, and the people of the saints. And his power, it shall be mighty, great strength, but not by his own power. He don't get his strength from himself, see, it comes from others. And he shall destroy wonderfully destroying, see. It's like somebody giving you a cookie before they kill you. And he shall prosper and do, and he shall destroy them that are mighty, the people of the saints. Even then, this was that one that made war with the saints yesterday, see. And he makes war right up to the end, just like we found out. Right up to the end, but in the end of the matter. And what was the end of the matter? God comes in. See, God comes in. God has the ability to take it all away. See, like it's just been a dream, a night vision even. 25, and through his cunning he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and in the time of security shall he destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And through his cunning, and through these understandings, and he shall cause this craft to prosper in his hand, and this is in his works. Craft. This craft. These practices of divination, these practices of enchantment, these practices of sorcery and all manner of evilness and wickedness, what wrought within a work of a man's hand, and that's his works. He shall magnify himself in his heart. And it's magnify himself. He make himself great in his own understanding. And in the time of security, he shall destroy many. And in a period of security, everybody thinks they're secure. Peace, everything's good, and it's great. He shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. He stands up against the prince of princes. Let's change this prince of princes. This should be the ruler of rulers. He stands up against the ruler of rulers. That's God himself, and that ain't going to work. Because, see, he shall be broken without hand. He's broken. Like a dry stick over the knee. Broken. Just without hand, though. It's done without work, see. It was done by the law of God and the word of God when it went forth in the beginning. And it rightfully divides. 26. And the vision of the evenings and the mornings, which hath been told, is true. But you, shut you up the vision, for it belongs to many days to come. And these visions, these perceptions, this was called the vision of the evenings and mornings. This is the vision of the evenings and mornings, these visions of darkness and light, darkness and light, darkness and light, periods of judgment. See, darkness, there's no understanding. A little bit of understanding comes with it. That was the past. That we don't understand it till it's gone by, see. It's done gone by. It's done been seen. The evening's gone, the darkness is past, and now the light's come, and we see what was done in the night. That's why it's the vision of the evenings and the mornings. It's true. It's true. We do see these things after they're done. Shut up the vision. Shut up this vision, these perceptions. See, because it belongs to many days to come. Many understandings are yet to come. 27. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Then I rose up, and I did the king's business, and I was appalled at the vision, but understood it not. And Daniel, this judge of the mighty one, faints. He's sick. Sick within himself, and for certain days, and in certain understandings, we'll find out Daniel was not well, we should say, not well in certain understandings. But he raises up. He gets up, and he does the king's business. He carries on out what the king had sent him to do. And I was appalled. He was appalled at the vision, at these perceptions, these understandings that he received. But he understood it not. His understanding wasn't there at that time. But we'll find out. Daniel wrote it down. Because, see, it was for the end. In the end, see, in the latter periods. And we'll find out when the transgressors reach their full. Because if you don't think they haven't reached their full, we can look back and see. And it just grows more wicked every day. See, we can look back and see. We can't look forward and see, but know that the wickedness increases. And no one considers the righteous are taken away from the wickedness to come. The righteous are taken away from the wickedness to come. For wickedness comes, great evil. We're going to move forward to chapter 9. God says turn and return.